Good morning, Central First Baptist. Just wanted to give you a few updates here before we begin worship today. I want to tell you first, just thank you from me personally and our family as you prayed for us, for Paige and for baby Violet. As we had her this week, we had her on Monday, and things just went so well. Paige is healthy, baby Violet's healthy. She's growing, and we've had good reports from the doctor as we've been back. She loves to stay up all night and keep mommy and daddy up all night, but she's such a beautiful little girl, and we're so blessed to have her, especially during these days with the virus. We're just so thankful for how well everything went and that we made it home and that all our families together again. Thank you for those that have brought meals and for everyone that's just checked in on us. And so it's just an odd time to have a baby, but we're so blessed that everything went so well. So thank you for that. Many of you have probably also seen on Facebook or on our website that we're going to reopen regular worship on May 31st. And so let me tell you a few things about that. We're going to do it at a different time. Instead of 11 a.m., we're going to meet at 10 a.m. because normally our Sunday school classes meet during that time. But because of the virus and in order not to be in such a confined space, we will not be having Sunday school. You can still continue to do those meetings online, either on a different day of the week or on Sunday evening. But what we'll do is meet in this sanctuary, in our auditorium, and we'll divide it in a way that we're spread out, which we normally are anyways, but we'll ensure that we're properly socially distancing and that we're in this big room and have room to spread out and to worship together. So there'll be no Sunday school classes. We'll meet at 10 a.m. in the auditorium for a somewhat normal worship service. But let me tell you a few more things that'll happen. There'll be no evening worship because we normally meet in the classroom in the back. But I think in the future, some options we would have would be to just meet out in the auditorium, or we could meet outside as the weather warms up. We could meet in the front of the building on the stairs out there and bring some chairs. We can figure that out later. But for May 31st, there'll be no Sunday school, no evening worship. We're going to have a special cleaning before we meet where we wipe down the pews and the door handles in addition to our normal cleaning that Greg does. We're trying to find hand sanitizer that we can put throughout the building, but that stuff's like gold right now. It's hard to find, but we want to make sure that we take extra precautions as we're together to keep our building clean. We want to encourage you to continue practicing social distancing as we will spread out in the building, but we would also encourage you not to shake hands or to hug one another, which will be difficult because we haven't seen each other in so long. But we want to make sure that we respect those who are prone to get this virus. And so you may not feel like it's a big deal, but others do. And so we want to respect each other and refrain from being in close contact with each other. Instead of passing offering plates like we normally do, we'll set those at different places in our building. So when you give, we won't be touching those plates and everyone passing them around, but you can just drop your offering in as you come or as you leave as your act of worship and giving to the Lord. Also, there'll be no child care, so the kids won't go to the back and all be in one tight space, but they'll sit with their parents. And so you know how that's going to be. They're going to make noise, and that's fine. My 3 kids now will be some of the leading contributors to that, but we'll print off a coloring sheet. We'll keep the message brief and try to accommodate for that difference. But I think it's the right thing to do to keep our kids with us and not put them in a tight room like that. Also, I would just say, if you're nervous or worried about coming to a building maybe you have been sick, or you cannot get this virus. It would be deadly for you. If you're worried at all, then don't come. You're not going to go to hell because you don't make it to our building one Sunday. We'll continue to have an online option where you can watch our services on Facebook or on our website and continue to worship with us. And hopefully soon, as we go through these different phases that our government is giving us, we can all come together and worship soon. But if you're at all worried, I would just encourage you to stay home and take advantage of the online option. So these are changes that we're making, and they're not permanent, but they are necessary as we transition into meeting again. They're somewhat serious precautions, but we just want to be submissive to the government and take necessary precautions to protect members and guests from this virus as we come back together. So we want to be together. Many things will be the same, but we will be here in this building at 10 a.m. on May 31st, and I hope to see you then. God bless you. This song is called "The Lord Our God."
See
going to do a brief Bible study here from the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verses 24 through 25. So if you have a Bible, I hope you'll go ahead and turn there. But as we are planning to return to meet together, I thought about this passage, and I've thought about it while we've been going through this virus. But how do we interpret this passage in light of the coronavirus? Are we in sin as Christians because we're not meeting together? Well, I don't think so. I think we've done our best, not just Central First Baptist, but all churches, to find ways to be together and to connect with each other through the technology that God's given us and what other resources we have. But I want to study this passage and encourage us that as soon as we possibly can be physically together, we should. We don't want to make a habit out of staying home and watching a service online. The Bible's clear that's not enough. We need to be together. And so that's why we've been respectful of our authorities, and we haven't been meeting together. And we want to protect our people so that no one gets sick. But as soon as we possibly can, and as carefully as we possibly can, we want to be together. Let's read these couple verses together. Hebrews 10, 24 and 25. And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. In this passage in Hebrews, Christians were encouraged to take hold of great things that they've received in the gospel and to live it out. In verse 22, they're encouraged to draw near to God. In verse 23, they're encouraged to hold fast to the hope that they profess. And in verses 24 and 25, they're encouraged to act lovingly in their relationship with one another. And all this is based not on ourselves, but on the work that Jesus has done. So because of what Jesus has done on our behalf, we're able to draw near to God with confidence. And we're able to be steadfast in our hope, and we're able to relate to our fellow Christian brothers and sisters, knowing that one day Jesus is coming back. And maybe you missed that, but in verse 25, it says, talks about the day that's drawing near. And in my translation, the ESV, that word day is capitalized. So it's talking about the day that Jesus comes back. Not a day or one day, but the day when Jesus returns to this earth, as he's told us that he would. We meet in church as people who look forward to that return, that we are waiting on Jesus to come back. Through the death of Jesus, we know that forgiveness of sin is ours, and we know that salvation is ours. But we look forward to when Jesus comes back, we will fully receive all the blessings that God has promised those who are in Christ Jesus. So when Jesus comes back, there's no more waiting for us as Christians. That's the day that we long for. So how does the writer of Hebrews say that we look forward to this return? Well, we encourage each other. That's what we're supposed to do. To show that we're anxiously waiting for him to come back, we encourage each other. How do we encourage each other? Well, this passage says through love and good works. That means that we look for ways that we can encourage other Christians. We follow up with new Christians and with non-Christians, and we teach them how to grow in their relationship with Jesus. We meet with these people regularly. And right now that's difficult, but we call them or text them, send them an email, stop by their home, and knowing that one day Jesus will come back and we'll stand before him pure and blameless and spotless. And we will have invested in other people's lives. That's very important. During this season of graduation, we want to think about those that are graduating. So like for our congregation, we have Zoe who's graduating, And we want to make sure that we love her and encourage her and congratulate her for that. And I have other people that I know that have graduated, and so that's one opportunity we've had lately, as they've not been able to go to prom or have a normal graduation. We can be creative and think of ways that we can love on them and encourage them during this time as Christians to keep going. And what a great job you've done to earn this degree. And so that's how we spur each other on. We wait on Jesus' return by encouraging one another through love and good works. He also says that we should consider something. What are we to consider? Well, we should think about how we can spur one another on to love and good works. Love is the core of the Christian's character. That's what we're made of, is love. It's the defining feature that marks us as Christians. By this, all men will know that you are my disciples, Jesus said. How will they know? That you love one another. Love is the marker for the Christian, that we are Christians. And this passage tells us that we should consider how we can love each other. It's not something that we automatically do. It's something we have to think about. We have to use our minds and strategize how we can love each other. How can I encourage this brother or this sister on doing good things that God has prepared for them to do? How can I stir them up so that they do good works? It's important to talk to your Christian friends about how we can do this. We can read the Bible together. We can pray together. We can admonish one another, even correct one another, and definitely encourage one another. We could write a letter. We could talk to somebody when we see them kind of going off the rails. We could encourage them when we see them doing something right. Great job doing that. You know, I just noticed you making that extra effort, and I want to encourage you that that's a good thing. We look together at Jesus and we follow his example. There's all kinds of ways that we can do this, but we shouldn't assume that this just naturally happens. We have to work towards it and think about it and stir each other up to do it. What part should the Bible and prayer play in this? Well, the Bible is what teaches us how to do good works. It's the instruction manual on how to do good things. It rebukes, it corrects. The Bible is the basis. It's the foundation, because it tells us what love is and what good is and what we are to do and what we're not to do. So there's no better way to express concern for one another than to read our Bibles and to pray for each other. Prayer for one another to grow in godliness is crucial for the Christian. It is great comfort and encouragement to know that other Christians are praying for you. As Paige and I were in the hospital this week, we were greatly comforted to know, with all the stress of and monitors going off as Paige delivered baby Violet, it was comforting to know that we were not in this alone. The Lord was with us, and we had all these people, friends, church family, that are praying for us. And that is such a great comfort when you're going through difficult days. So what are we to keep doing, and what are we to do without giving up in this passage? Well, it says we should meet together. We should meet together. See, Christianity is not a solo sport. It's all about teamwork and relationships. It's very social, and it brings us into a relationship with God. And not only into a relationship with God, but with God's people, our brothers and sisters in Christ. And you cannot maintain a relationship with people that you never meet with. We have to be together. So we must meet together. The Bible is very realistic on this issue. It's not always convenient. It's not always what we feel like doing. Sometimes there's plenty of other things we could do on a Sunday morning or a Sunday night, but it is crucial that we meet together. We meet together so that we can encourage one another. Most non-Christians meet together for all kinds of other reasons. They meet together to compete, or because of what we get out of the group, or because the way this some group makes us feel about ourselves. We've all been a part of other groups beside church, and usually the reason you join a group is to get something out of it. But we meet together as Christians, not necessarily we will get something out of it, but we meet together to give, to encourage one another. It's not always convenient. It's many times a challenge, but churches must be careful to give space so that members can encourage each other. The focus of the meeting must be to spur one another on to love and good works. And the way that we meet together, you already know, is on Sundays, in our Sunday school classes, and other smaller groups as we do breakfast together, or just two ladies meeting together or two men. There's all kinds of ways that we can meet together. And sure, that's a challenge with this virus, but we can use our phones and call one another or text one another, and soon coffee shops are going to be open again. Amen to that. And we can drink our coffee and talk together. We should make sure that Christian friends have opportunities to meet together and express Christian relationships. But there's all kinds of obstacles besides the virus that make that a challenge. There are reasonable things that keep us from meeting together. Physical limitations, like a wife may not be free to leave her family on Sunday mornings and go to church. People from some ethnic backgrounds can't go to church because of family issues, or sickness, or the coronavirus, or there's no transportation. There's all kinds of reasonable issues that keep us from church. And those are understandable, but they, at the end of the day, should not always keep us from meeting together. The real reasons that people don't go to church, including Christians, are things like this. At the end of the day, they have a lack of care and concern for that church. They're just not interested. There's nothing they're going to get out of it, and they're not interested in going. They have other priorities like sports, tennis, or golf, or football. And so church is just not a priority. Or maybe it's just laziness. It's just we work all week. It's hard to get up on a Sunday and get ready and get to the church building and to be around people. And so many times that's why people don't come. There's all kinds of reasons like that keep us from church, and they shouldn't. Newcomers, visitors may find it difficult to go to church because a church can be a strange and overwhelming place. And for many of us at Central First Baptist, we've grown up in church, and we know that when you come in, somebody's going to stand up and greet everyone. And then at some point, we're going to pass offering plates, and we're going to sing songs, and then we're all going to sit down, and the pastor's going to preach, and we're going to listen, and then there's going to be a song, and somebody's going to pray as we dismiss. And that's just what we do. But think about if you've never been to a church before, and you walk in, you don't know what's going on. And so we need to understand and be mindful that there are people that are just scared because they don't know how this process works. So what special reason is there, according to this passage, to encourage one another? Jesus is going to come back. That's why. There's an urgency of the task of encouragement because our time is limited. We're preparing to appear before God, and we're on this journey of growth, and God will get us there through His Word and through prayer and through the help of others. See, we've got to bear each other up and lock arms together and lift each other up and help each other get through this life. So as we close today, I want you to think about Who is someone in your life that you are encouraging towards godliness? You are spurring them on or stirring them up to live in a godly way. There should be someone that you pray for regularly, that you call or meet with, that you are encouraging them towards good works. Who's someone that's doing that in your life? Who's someone that is discipling you, encouraging you to do the right thing for God? What's your priority in meeting together with your local church? And obviously things are different right now, but soon we're going to be together again, and we want to make that a priority. To whatever precautions we have to take, we want to go jump through all the right hoops so that we can be together. We know that that's the right thing to do. So let's not allow the church to be a place where people are torn down, or where people don't look forward to going because all there is gossip and hypocrisy. A church should be a place that we look forward to going to because we encourage one another. And I can say personally that I have missed you guys so much during this virus as we've been away. So many things have happened. I've traveled the world. I have a new baby. I mean, so many things have happened in my life that I just miss being together with you. And so I so look forward to May 31st and being together with you, where I can be encouraged from you and I can encourage you as our church family. So I hope this is encouraging to you today, and I hope you can think of ways that you can encourage other believers this coming week. God bless you. I hope you have a great week. See you next Sunday.